Spirit Sports Consultants presents.
We're here with NFL Week 17, our picks for all games. 2 weeks left in the regular season, a lot of playoff spots still up for grabs. Should be some entertaining games. You have teams even who are out that are playing really, really tough. We're looking forward to the way this week's scheduled. You got a couple games on Christmas, Thursday, then a few on Saturday, then of course your Sunday games. And to start it off, and this is an unusual Christmas Day doubleheader, so after you're done with the presents, the dinner, whatever for the kids, assuming you celebrate Christmas, stay tuned for an NFL doubleheader. You've got a Christmas Day AFC playoff preview. All four teams have clinched playoff spots. We don't know where they're going to be, but they're all going to be in the playoffs. You've got the Chiefs at the Steelers. Will they be resting their players? And the Ravens at the Texans. The Texans, of course, off that devastating loss with losing key receiver Tank Dell and losing the game. Chiefs at the Steelers. And before we get to the analysis for this game, I want to float an idea out to you guys. Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts. Why can't the NFL add a rule by which the coach can challenge one penalty call per game? Maybe one, maybe ramp it up to two, but you have that in the NBA. You have that in Major League Baseball. Why is the NFL so perfect that you can't challenge an official's calling a penalty? That it could potentially cost a team a Super Bowl like we saw a few years back with the NFC Championship game, the Saints. So we think that's an idea that the NFL should investigate. Rules Committee, if you're listening, please add it. But until they make such a change and the refs continue to ally themselves with a certain team for the Midwest, we're not going to pick against them. When we look at this game, the Chiefs, even with Mahomes being injured, that's air quotes, you guys can't see that, air quotes, but we think the Chiefs are better than the Steelers, who really look sluggish without key receiver George Pickens. Even the running game wasn't quite there. A couple key turnovers, that pick six towards the end, that was really critical in that loss against the Ravens. But yeah, we're going to pick the Chiefs here, winning closely, 24-21. Ravens at the Texans. And the Ravens may be 10-5, but don't let those 5 losses fool you. The Ravens and the Bills, in our opinion, are the only two teams in the AFC that are legitimate threats to the Chiefs. We are Texans fans, so we try to put that out there before we make these picks. But the Texans have been inconsistent all year. We would have picked in this game, we would have leaned towards the Ravens anyway, and that's before the Texans lost key receiver Tank Dell. Now they're down Tank Dell. They lost Stephon Diggs earlier. They're down to Nico Collins. We look at the Ravens. We're big fans of Lamar Jackson. We picked them to go to the Super Bowl last year. We think they're right in the hunt this year. So for this game, of course, we're going to take the Ravens here 27-21. And if the records hold now, this should be the first round playoff matchup. So we think that the same result in the playoffs, but this is a key game to watch for that reason. Titans at the Jaguars. We have to view this game as more about draft positioning than anything else, as these teams are clearly rebuilding for the 2025 season. We're going to have, we think, Mason Rudolph going up against Mac Jones. Mason Rudolph is a slight improvement over Will Levis, but again, in this game in Week 16, 3 interceptions. There must be something the offense is doing wrong in general. Can't necessarily blame on the quarterback. On the other side of the Jaguars, Mac Jones has been inconsistent, showed more life than even what Trevor Lawrence was putting out there. When we look at this game, we would not pick this. We would not bet this because we don't know if these two teams are really trying or they're worried about draft positioning. But we're going to lean towards Duval here. Take the home team 24-21 over the visiting Titans. And before we continue, if you would, just join our channel. And if you like this video or find it useful, like it and then subscribe. We provide weekly NFL picks, highlights, and sports travel. Thank you. Week 16 top plays. Jaden Daniels, the game-winning touchdown. Great game for the Commanders. The Panthers with a walk-off run there in overtime. Chuba Hubbard to the house. Then you've got the Steelers with that unfortunate pick six. That turned it. Tell me why it was taunting not called on that play. And then a crushing one. Texans, great touchdown. Lost Tank Dell. The Seahawks at the Bears. The Seahawks, that tough defeat to Minnesota. Came down to the final play late. Geno Smith with the interception that sealed it for the Vikings. Then the Bears with that tough game against Detroit, really showing that they're no match for the Lions. We thought they'd play a lot better this year than they have. It's been kind of a rebuilding season for the Bears. But the Seahawks have an opportunity still alive in the NFC West race. They're going to have to win out. We like them here 24-20 over the Bears. Then they have to go to face the Rams to win that game to have any chance to win the NFC West. Jets at the Bills. This could be one of those spoiler-type games. We think the Bills got their warning in their first half against the Patriots not to let down against a perceived inferior opponent. Bills have a legitimate shot, still have a chance, albeit remote, to get the 1 seed, but you got to play for playoff position. You want that too for, again, the second round of the playoffs, if nothing else. So we think they're going to take care of business here over the Aaron Rodgers-led Jets. They're clearly reeling, having a horrible season. 31-17 Bills. Dolphins at the Browns. Browns and Dolphins both effectively eliminated. The Dolphins have a mathematical shot, and we like their performance against the 49ers. That may have been more about the 49ers just not having it this year, being sluggish and all that. But Tua has definitely been a spark to this offense since coming back from that concussion. We think it's been hit or miss. We look at this game, we're going to give you a conditional pick. We know it sounds weak. We like the Dolphins here 24-17, but watch that weather. You guys get tired of me talking about weather. Dolphins don't play well in the snow, so if we have any bad weather, snow, wind, take this pick off. But if all things being equal, we like the Dolphins here 24-17 over the Browns. Raiders at the Saints. The Raiders with that great victory over the Jags in Vegas. Looked really good. Aiden O'Connell was back. We weren't expecting him to be back and starting in this game, but they played really well. Defense looked outstanding. The Saints, again, we're recording this before their Monday night game against the Packers, so we don't know what to expect. But look at both these teams. We don't really know. So we're gonna pick the Saints here. We're gonna give it a 21-20 score. That's effectively a pick 'em. We're gonna kind of throw our hands up and say, shake our head. We don't really know in this one. Chargers at the Patriots. Chargers with that great game on Thursday night. A tale of two halves as they came back. Really, it all started with that, what do they call it, a fair catch free kick. Really got them going in the second half over the Broncos. The Patriots, again, with a great first half against the Buffalo Bills, who were clearly having what we call a letdown game, not really taking the Patriots seriously. We think the Chargers will win a tough-fought game all the way out in Foxborough. They got to go cross-country for this one, so we don't think it's going to be a one-sided affair. We think they will take care of business. They got to make sure they maintain that playoff positioning. We like them here 21-17 over the Pats. Colts at the Giants. The Colts still have a mathematical chance to make the playoffs, we believe. We'll have to check the playoff picture in the standings, but they look really good against the Titans, or maybe it was just the Titans with those 3 interceptions. We're not entirely sure. Anthony Richardson can be puzzling. He can be great running and passing for touchdowns, but then he can hit you with a couple interceptions. But in this game, we have to think the Giants are really going to be playing for next year. We don't think they're going to give the Colts much of a challenge. We think the Colts are the better team anyway, but we'd like the Colts here 27-14 at the Meadowlands over the Giants. Packers at the Vikings. To us, this is the marquee matchup of the weekend. Great matchup. We're, of course, recording this before the Packers play on Monday night, so hopefully no injuries there. But we think these teams are so evenly matched. This game could go either way. That's not a cop-out. That's the way we feel, but we do have our preference. We look at these two quarterbacks. We just lean a little bit towards Jordan Love. We think he's a little bit better than Sam Darnold, who has been inconsistent. We like the Packers here 28-24. We think that they are the overall better team. We think the home field might come into play. We think this is a little bit of a revenge game from that earlier game in which Jordan Love was not 100%. We like the Packers here. On the one hand, the Lions caught a break with the Eagles losing. Now they have a one-game lead over the Eagles, but they still can't shake the Vikings, who remain tied with them for the tops of the NFC North. They've got it by tiebreaker, but with 2 games left, they clearly can't let up. And in this rematch of last year's championship game, 49ers may not be the same team they were last year. They could still give the Lions some trouble. We think the Lions will be serious, take care of business here. We'd like them here 31-21. They know they can't let up with the Vikings tied with them. They know this is their year. They've got to get home field if they have any chance to go deep in the playoffs, in our opinion. Broncos at the Bengals. The Broncos are fairly safe in their playoff positioning, and the Bengals still have some remote shot to get in. We don't think they will. It's pretty much going to be the Broncos and Chargers at the 6 and 7 in some order. But the Broncos, we have to worry a little bit about Bo Nix. We noticed in the play calling they weren't throwing anything down the field. You notice there were a bunch of screens, a bunch of short passes, whereas Joey B and the Bengals offense, a lot of downfield throws. We think that they're going to take advantage of that aggressive Broncos defense, who may be able to cover Jamar Chase with Patrick Surtain, but can they cover the rest of the Bengals receivers and account for Joey B's accuracy? I like the Bengals here 28-21 in Cincy. Cowboys at the Eagles. We're going to do a pick here. We're going to make it conditional due to the fact that we're not totally sure if Jalen Hurts will play or not, with being in the concussion protocol after having to exit the game against the Commanders early in the first quarter. So our concerns are with Jalen there. We would assume that the Eagles would win this game with a score of 28-21, all things being equal. But again, let's follow the news on that before you commit to a play. We're not sure what his playing status is going to be. Panthers at the Bucs. Could be a critical game in the NFC South race. Bucs and the Falcons are at the top. The Panthers, we thought for the past 4 or 5 games they played great, improving. Finally got a win to show for it and an overtime victory over the Cardinals. The Buccaneers, we think they are the best team in the NFC South. We think they're going to take care of business here 31-21 as they march towards the playoffs. And speaking of the NFC South, the Falcons are right there in the race thanks to a nice rookie debut of Michael Penix Jr., who didn't put up great stats but also didn't make the critical mistake, which is the problem that Kirk Cousins has had all year. On the other side, the Commanders with that thrilling victory over the Eagles with that last-minute touchdown by Jaden Daniels. We've been on the Jaden Daniels bandwagon all season. We actually thought early on, we said before the season, he was the top quarterback in our book in the 2024 draft. We like the Commanders here 28-21. We're really curious to see what damage they can do once they get into the playoffs. And the Cardinals of the Rams becomes a play-in opportunity for the Rams. With a victory here, they clinch the NFC West, hoping to avoid a Week 18 showdown with the Seahawks, with a loss here and a Seahawks victory would create. So we look at the Rams team. While they've been sensational in the second half of the year, the offensive weapons have been known. You've got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and of course Matthew Stafford, the ageless wonder at quarterback. But that defense has really been playing outstanding. Held down the 49ers, held down the Jets. They beat Buffalo, even though they allowed, 42 points, so you can't give them too much credit there. But we like them here over the Cardinals, at home especially, 24-17 as they head towards the playoffs.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.